In this clip of the JRE, Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon talk about how we would potentially handle an incoming asteroid and what they think might happen. They also discuss the Egyptians and how incredibly advanced they must have been. This clip comes from JRE 2077 and is Dillon's 13th appearance on the podcast. If you like this bite-sized content, please drop me a like. This will help with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe for more daily content.
We got hit by an asteroid and this whole planet got knocked back down into the Jurassic period again.
Right.
That totally could happen. It's happened before. It's the reason why we're here in the first place, supposedly, right? The Yucatan impact. If that happens again, time doesn't care. Time doesn't care.
Can we do anything to the asteroid now that we're more advanced?
They are slowly but surely being able to recognize where the real problem, supposedly, I believe, is ones that come from too near the sun.
Right.
The problem is the gravity of the sun. I'm sure I'm this up. I'm sorry. I think the gravity of the sun, the mass of the sun is so immense that it's difficult to see objects that are behind it coming towards us. So if something's passing the sun and going towards us, we might not see it until it's too late to do anything about it. And then even if we do see it, there's only a few different methods that they've devised that seem to, like, one of them is you like hit it with a surface, like something lands on it, and this changing of the aerodynamics of it like changes its trajectory in some way. And another one is breaking it up. The breaking it up one scares people, though, because they're like, well, what if you break it up into many pieces that you just go to a bunch of different spots on Earth, and it has the same impact, just not in one spot.
Right.
Like you might actually, maybe it would have landed in the ocean and most people would survive.
It's amazing that we haven't had a really, and you might know more than I do, but we haven't had a really like destructive asteroid impact in a long time.
It's a timeline thing, dude.
Right.
Our timeline is our lifetime, and it's so long for a person, and it's so nothing for space.
Right.
It's so nothing. It literally is nothing.
Right.
Our timeline is 100 years for a human timeline. The Earth is 4 point whatever billion years old. The universe, there's all these arguments now. The universe is even older than 13.7 billion years ago. I'm not really smart enough to understand it. It's something about the forming of the galaxies. Like they seem to form quicker. That wouldn't be possible if the Earth was only, or if the universe was only 13.7 billion years. But Brian Keating doesn't agree with it, so maybe he's right. I don't know who's right. But it's either way. We're 100 years of nothing. It's so quick. And if we get hit with an asteroid and then everything starts and it's another 65 million years from now until a new form of intelligent life arises, the universe doesn't care about that.
No, right. Me saying we haven't had a significant impact is like when your 13-year-old starts talking about Israel and Palestine. Like they just don't. I sound ridiculous because it's literally, I've been on the planet 38 years and I'm like, we haven't had anything.
As you get older, you get old enough to realize this hustle. You get, this is a hustle. Like you're pretending like you can do something.
Right.
You're pretending like you're gonna make a life and leave a mark and all. You're just moving.
Right.
And you're gonna be gone, and new people are gonna move into that, and everyone's affecting everybody, and we're all working towards some weird goal.
Right.
And some of it involves rockets and computers, and we're just building wilder and wilder technology. But I don't know if we can escape before something hits. And I have a feeling that's what's happened many times in the past. I think that's the biggest key to the mystery of people.
And you think that we may have gotten to this point?
I think we definitely did.
Where people were podcasting in ridiculous coats.
Yes.
And then something comes and ruins it.
Yeah.
And then it takes billions of years to get back to that.
Millions.
Millions to get back to that.
Not really millions. I think probably whatever the Egyptians were doing, I think they were the most advanced civilization that ever existed. That's what I think. This is, I'm out of line here for sure. Listen, if you're an archaeologist and you're pulling your hair out, I get it. But I don't think we can do what they did. I think if you just look at it for just the sheer dynamics, the volume of stone that they moved, the precision in which they built it, I really don't think we can do that. Just the symmetry of the faces of the statues is unparalleled, and they're immense. These are monstrously huge, perfectly symmetrical faces.
Right.
Their temples are insanely intricate with 20-ton gigantic stone blocks that were taken from a mountain 500 miles away. And no one has any idea how the they got them.
Nobody has any clue.
No guesses.
Right.
There's some guesses about, oh, maybe the river system was different back then. Whatever. How are you getting that 50-ton chunk of granite out of a mountain and moving it down, even with modern equipment? How are you getting it over the mountain?
So it seems like
you don't even have roads. What are you doing?
They were incredibly advanced.
Incredibly advanced.
With math, with science, with technology.
Certainly with geometry. They also had an understanding of the cosmos. They definitely had an understanding of the constellations. And that's one of the reasons why the fringe theory is that the Sphinx is way older than what they have it currently dated at, was like 2,500 BC, which is still crazy old, right?
Right.
But what they think is it's probably older than that, maybe even 10,000 or 30,000 years old. And that at these times in whenever the calendar is aligned properly, whatever the year is, it's like exactly where a lion would be staring the constellation Leo.
That's mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
To think about that stuff.
I don't know if that's true, though. That's a weird one. It's like, how do we know if, like, from the burning of the Library of Alexandria, we lost so much of an understanding of what the Egyptians knew and what they recorded. So there's a lot of weird speculation amongst Egyptologists. Like, they look at they have hieroglyphs that show kings that go back 40,000 years.
Right.
And they look at that as myth.
But
so it gets to a certain time and they decide, okay, now this is Tutankhamun, this is Ramses.
Are we talking about biblical times, or even we're predating that?
Pre-biblical
So we're really
times.
Predating the biblical times.
If they're correct, if these hieroglyphs are real, instead of like saying that they're myth because they're talking about kings that ruled the earth 40,000 years ago when we decided that those people back then were primitive. But if they're right, and if it only existed in a few places on Earth, well, that makes sense.
Right.
But that's how it is now. You can go right now. You can go to the Amazon. You see people living like they lived thousands of years ago.
Right.
And then you can see someone here get hit by a car because they're looking at their phone.
That's right.
You know, it's like they're both existing at the same time. I think that's probably always been the case with people. There's always been like people that live in Siberia, these nomadic tribal people that are very content just living the same way they've always lived. And then there's people that live in San Francisco that have people on their street and shooting up in front of them and getting paid.
Yeah.